Hello everyone and welcome to the Indiana Landmarks 60th Annual Meeting. My name is Parker Beecham and I am humbled to serve as the chairman of the board. Normally we'd be with all your smiling faces at the Indiana Landmarks Center. We look forward to celebrating you and the work of Indiana Landmarks together again soon. Today I'm coming to you from Eagles Theater in Wabash, Indiana, a $16 million project to restore an additional arts and entertainment facility in downtown Wabash. It was originally constructed in 1906. The 5-story building houses a nostalgic theater for movies and live entertainment, an additional movie theater, music lesson rooms, audio and visual recording and editing studios, and a fully restored grand ballroom. Eagles is a venue of the Honeywell Foundation, a nonprofit arts organization that also operates the Honeywell Center. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors for today's event. As you can see, we are fortunate to have the support of many generous organizations and individuals. Because this is our annual meeting, we do have to take care of some business, specifically the election of our directors. To do that, I will turn things over to Charlita Winston, the chair of our board governance committee. Charlita?
Thank you, Parker. Each year, Indiana Landmarks conducts elections to select individuals to serve on the organization's board of directors. Typically, members vote in board elections at Indiana Landmarks' public annual meeting. This year, however, we invited members to vote online. As chair of the Indiana Landmarks Board Governance Committee, I am pleased to present the results of those elections to you. In addition to myself, the committee members include board members Ellen Swisher Crabb, Sherry Dick, Jeremy Ephraimson, James Fadley, and Doris Ann Sadler, as well as Ira Mayer and former board members Greg Fairbach and Ralph Nowak. The committee receives staff assistance from Marsh Davis and Jessica Kramer. Before presenting our new directors, we'd first like to recognize 4 retiring directors who have served 2 consecutive 3-year terms, the limit our bylaws allow, except in the case of officers. For their valuable service and leadership, we thank Jeremy Ephraimson of Indianapolis, Christine Keck of Evansville, Matt Mayol of Indianapolis, and James Fadley of Indianapolis, who served as our chair and immediate past chair. We hope to retain their involvement as members of our Alumni Brain Trust, a group composed of former directors of Indiana Landmarks. And now it's my privilege to welcome the following individuals to the board of directors. Bruce Buchanan of Indianapolis is the 4th generation owner of the funeral home Flanner Buchanan Group, Inc., and a 6th generation Hoosier, passionate about his family's 200-year history in Indianapolis. Prior to joining the family business, Bruce spent 20 years in visual communications and remains an active photographer. Sarah Evans Barker of Morgantown has served since 1984 as a judge of the United States District Court, Southern District of Indiana. Born and raised in Mishawaka, she is a self-proclaimed history buff and has served on boards of numerous judicial, civic, and cultural organizations, including the State of Indiana Bicentennial Commission. In 2010, she was named a living legend by the Indiana Historical Society. Emily J. Harrison of Attica is an active volunteer with Fountain County Landmarks, Attica Main Street, and the Attica Public Library. Part of an extended family with deep roots in community, she lives in a restored circa 1848 home in Attica's West Brady Street Historic District. Sarah Leekleiter of Indianapolis is a devoted civic volunteer serving on the boards of Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra and Indiana Repertory Theater, and a founding member of the United Way of Central Indiana's Women's United. She and husband John Leekleiter have jointly received numerous honors for their philanthropic work, including the Indiana State Museum's Heritage Keeper Award and Indiana's Sagamore of the Wabash. Shelby Moravec of LaPorte, a serial restorer of historic homes in both Chicago and Indiana, serves on the board of Beverly Shores Depot Museum and was a founding member of Chicago's Ukrainian Village Preservation Society, leading to local protections for the threatened neighborhood. David Resnick of Carmel is managing partner of Katz Sapper & Miller, an Indianapolis-based public accounting firm. In honor of the firm's 75th anniversary in 2017, he oversaw restoration of the Indianapolis City Market Clock in partnership with Indiana Landmarks. He is active on the board of many civic and cultural organizations, including the United Way of Central Indiana, Beth L. Zedek Foundation, Indy Chamber, and WFYI Foundation, among others. Board members elected this year will serve 3-year terms expiring in 2023. To lend continuity, board members generally serve 2 consecutive terms for a total of 6 years. The following board members have been elected to second terms, also ending in September of 2023. Tracy Haddock of Columbus, Dave Heist, Culver, Sally Rowland of Indianapolis, and myself, Charlita Winston, Indianapolis. Indiana Landmarks bylaws allows terms to be extended for those in officer positions. This year, 4 board members have been elected to serve 1-year terms as officers. Parker Beecham, past chairman, Sarah Edgerton, chairman, Doris Ann Sadler, vice chairman, Randall Shepard, honorary chair. For information purposes, the directors who are not up for renewal this year include Jennifer Baskerville Burrows of Indianapolis, Hillary Barnes, Indianapolis, Candace Chapman, Evansville, Ed Clear, New Albany, Mike Corbett, Noblesville, Ellen Crabb, Indianapolis, Sherry Dick of Zionsville, Olin Dotson of Muncie, Melissa Glaze, Fort Wayne, Brett McCamey, Westfield, Ray Onko of Richmond, Marty Ray, Cincinnati, James Rennie, Newburgh, George Rogie, Maryville, Peter Sakopoulos, Terre Haute, Rob Santa, Bloomington, John Zeglis of Culver, Bo Zeller, Indianapolis, Clark County. The Board Governance Committee also includes drafting a slate of officers for approval by the board itself. At the annual meeting of the board earlier today, we elected the following slate of officers for the governance year beginning today and ending with September board meeting in 2021. Randall Shepard, honorary chairman, Sarah Edgerton, chair, Parker Beecham, past chairman, Doris Ann Sadler, vice chairman, Hillary Barnes, secretary and assistant treasurer, Thomas Engel, assistant secretary, Brett McCamey, treasurer, Marsh Davis, president, Judy O'Bannon, secretary emerita. On behalf of the Board Governance Committee, I'd like to thank each and every one of these folks for their dedicated service to Indiana Landmarks. And now I'll turn it over to Parker to introduce our next speaker.
Thanks, Charlita, and thanks to you to our new and returning directors and new officers. And now I hope you're ready to be inspired as you hear about the winners of our annual Servaas Awards. For that, I'll turn it over to our honorary chairman, the Honorable Randall Shepard. Randy chairs our Servaas Awards Committee, and he'll tell you about this year's outstanding honorees.
Hello, fellow members and friends of Indiana Landmarks. I'm pleased to be with you today, virtually, of course, presenting Indiana Landmarks' 45th Annual Sandy Servaas Memorial Awards, recognizing achievement in saving, protecting, and celebrating historic places, and honoring programs that educate young people about preservation. The award recognizes the legacy of Sandy Servaas, a dynamic member of the Indiana Landmarks staff before her untimely death in 1975. Sandy championed preservation as a tool to revitalize communities, and in her time on staff, she helped set the direction of Indiana Landmarks' future and mission. The Servaas Awards include cash prizes, thanks to the support of Sandy's family. A generous bequest from Sandy's mother, Jean, who passed away in 2015, ensures our ability to present the awards long into the future. Along with a $1,000 check, each winner receives a Servaas sculpture created by Evansville artist John McNaughton. I'm honored to chair the Servaas Award Committee, which this year included Kira Amstutz, Mike Corbett, Lori Ephraimson Aguilera, Tom Greist, Ron Morris, Michael Rodman, Charlita Winston, assisted by professionals Marsh Davis and Suzanne Stannis. We received nominations from the public, and in fact, self-nominations are welcome as well, and then the committee chooses the winner. The judges look for a documented record of success and lasting community benefit. So who are the winners? After 15 years of engaging high school students, a notoriously tough audience, on local history and architecture, teacher John Carl certainly checks all the boxes. An Evansville native, John recalls being devastated as a 13-year-old by the demolition of the city's 1902 L&N Railroad Depot in 1985. As a field surveyor for Indiana Landmarks, documenting the county's historic structures in the 1990s, he gained a deeper appreciation of local landmarks and architecture, knowledge he shares today with students in his history classes. On the station, we tried, Mr. Carl, we really did. Well, in 2005, Terry Hughes, a friend and member of the Vanderburgh County Historical Society, encouraged John to take advantage of emerging technologies to guide students in creating local history documentaries. 15 years later, John's Feel the History classes at Evansville's Wrights High School have engaged hundreds of students in researching and creating nearly 75 videos exploring Evansville landmarks. The videos have aired on Evansville's PBS channel. They've helped support fundraising efforts for endangered places such as the Owen Block. The classes also create walking tours for local historic districts, encouraging residents and visitors to get out and feel the history in person. Indiana Landmarks board member Jim Rennie nominated John for the 2020 Servaas Award. Here's what he said. John is instilling an awareness of Evansville's history in students at a very impressionable phase of their lives. The outstanding success of his work may not manifest itself for several decades, but he is inculcating fundamental appreciation of our built heritage from which all preservation efforts flow. Great work indeed. Our second Servaas Award this year goes to Reese Thompson of Lebanon. As a high school sophomore in 2016, Reese was looking for an Eagle Scout project when he recalled a newspaper article about what's called the Thorntown Colored Cemetery. At the time, a small sign on a wooden post and 4 unremarkable gravestones near a farm field offered the only hint of the site's history as a final resting place for the community's early black residents. Reese got to work, organized a colored cemetery committee, collecting donations, securing permits, writing grants, rallying volunteers to repair headstones. He partnered with Ball State University on a ground-penetrating radar study that revealed as many as 48 grave sites existed. After completing his Eagle Scout project in 2017, Reese realized the cemetery deserved larger attention, and he took further steps to assure its preservation. He helped secure a grant and led the volunteer group in surveying the cemetery's boundaries, erecting a decorative fence, and securing an Indiana historical marker at the site. Reese located and invited descendants of those buried in the cemetery to attend the August 2019 celebration. Shannon Hudson, a member of the cemetery group and author of a book about the Underground Railroad in Montgomery County, praised Reese's dedication. She said, "He spent hours and hours and brought together a team of diverse individuals to bring attention to people whose history had been lost. It was long overdue." Reese is currently a student at IU-PUI, majoring in public safety and civic leadership, something he's already demonstrated in abundance. Thanks to dedicated, inspirational people like Reese Thompson and John Carl, we think the future of historic preservation in Indiana looks pretty bright. Congratulations to both winners. Keep up the good work.
Since we're taking this year's annual meeting on the road, I thought it'd be great to announce the winner of this year's Williamson Prize from one of my favorite historic places, Lyles Station in Gibson County. 2 years ago, we presented the Williamson Prize to Stanley Madison, whose inspired leadership helped save and enliven the historic Lyles Station School, which today stands among our nation's cherished African-American sites. Like Stanley Madison, this year's Williamson Prize winner is a dynamic champion of historic places and has been so for more than 5 decades. It is my honor to announce that that person is our beloved former First Lady of Indiana, Judy O'Bannon. Indiana Landmarks Williamson Prize recognizes outstanding leadership in historic preservation. Reed Williamson served as Indiana Landmarks president for over 30 years before he retired in 2005. He passed away in 2017, but the Williamson Prize honors his legacy as a dynamic leader who shaped Indiana Landmarks into the organization we are today. Judy worked closely with Reed for many years, and I think it's safe to say that they inspired each other. Judy's introduction to preservation came soon after she married Frank O'Bannon in 1957 and moved to Corydon, where she fixed up the 3rd floor of their apartment in the 19th century building that housed the Corydon Democrat, a newspaper owned by the O'Bannon family. Years later, she met Reed, then president of Indiana Landmarks, and the two shared ideas about the role historic preservation could play in revitalizing main streets in Indiana. In 1985, they collaborated in launching the Indiana Main Street program, which affirms historic preservation as an essential force in revitalizing downtowns. She founded the Indiana Main Street Council and chaired it for a decade. Many of the program's principles radiated from Judy's experience in Corydon. She continued to show her passion for preservation after Frank was elected Indiana's lieutenant governor in 1989, and the couple moved to Indianapolis. They purchased a Victorian home in the city's Old North Side neighborhood, joining other urban pioneers in revitalizing the neighborhood. Once in Indianapolis, the O'Bannons attended services at the Central Avenue United Methodist Church, just a couple blocks from their home. Over the next 2 decades, Judy championed saving the landmark church, not just once, but twice. When the dwindling congregation struggled to maintain its house of worship, Judy led the charge to find a new use for the historic building, giving it new life as the Old Centrum, a hub for nonprofit agencies and performing arts. In 2008, as the building's maintenance needs surpassed the Old Centrum's means, Judy supported Indiana Landmarks' vision to restore it as our state headquarters and a venue for cultural events. She also helped us engage Bill and Gail Cook of Bloomington in making the building's restoration possible. As Indiana's First Lady, Judy made her mark on the governor's residence. While hosting guests in the late 90s, she realized that visitors who were unable to climb stairs couldn't travel between floor levels or access restrooms in the governor's residence. She helped raise $900,000 in private donations to make the landmark residence accessible to all. More recently, Indiana Landmarks tapped her expertise for our Historic Sites Task Force, studying how to make our historic properties more accessible. A born storyteller with a unique gift for bringing preservation down to a personal level, Judy has used her talents as a media force for preservation. She spearheaded the PBS documentary on the restoration of the Indiana Landmark Center, and she collaborated with WFYI to produce the Emmy Award-winning series Community Building Communities. She drew on her own experiences in rehabbing 19th century log buildings in Corydon to produce a documentary to show how old barns can be adapted to new uses. For her decades of passion in promoting historic places and for being a tireless advocate for preservation in Indiana and beyond, we are honored to name Judy O'Bannon winner of Indiana Landmarks 2020 Williamson Prize for Outstanding Leadership in Historic Preservation. We'll look forward to presenting Judy with the Williamson Prize sculpture created by Indiana artist John McNaughton, along with a check for $1,000 when it's safe to do so. In the meantime, Judy, on behalf of the entire Indiana Landmarks family, congratulations and thank you. Keep fighting the good fight. Hello again. As you just saw, the vision and dedication of just one person can be the spark that leads to great things, including the rescue and revitalization of important historic places. I'm joining you now from one such landmark, the Thomas Taggart Memorial in Riverside Park. You can see behind me, and if you hear some noise, that is the happy sound of restoration in progress. As mayor of Indianapolis in the late 1890s, Taggart created the city's park system. 10 years ago, this memorial to his accomplishment was in bad shape. So bad, in fact, the city had to fence it in for public safety. We felt compelled to add it to our 10 most endangered list. Today, thanks to the vision and dedication of many people working together with us, especially the Indianapolis Parks Foundation and the Indianapolis Shakespeare Theater, and a $9.2 million grant from the Lilly Endowment, the Taggart Memorial is being restored as a dynamic venue for performing arts in Riverside Park. Repurposing the memorial for a new use is just the kind of creative solution we look for when we name places to our 10 most endangered list. Each of the places on this year's list comes with significant challenges, but when a site lands on our list, we commit to seeking solutions that lead to its rescue and revitalization. Of the 146 most endangered sites listed since 1991, we've lost only 19, and 95 of those are completely restored or no longer endangered. Our 2020 list includes 10 great historic places, and we hope you'll agree with us are too important to lose. In 1960, a group of community visionaries and philanthropists launched Indiana Landmarks on its mission of rescuing historic places, and we've saved many along the way. Our very first project was the Morris Butler House here in Indianapolis's Old North Side neighborhood, and it illustrates how historic preservation can serve as a catalyst for revitalizing communities. When we took it on, our pioneering investment in the neighborhood helped fuel the Renaissance now in full bloom. Though some define our mission as simply saving old buildings, it's really much more than that. We believe that, like hard work and hospitality, revitalization is a real Hoosier value, that by restoring and repurposing historic buildings, we reconnect people to their heritage and help spark community investment. It's a story we've seen now play out in different ways over 60 years. Our work has been and remains a collaborative effort, aided and fueled by philanthropists, advocates, and our members at all levels. So instead of the traditional year in review we normally share at our annual meetings, this year we thought we'd highlight just a few of the places we've been honored to help save. I hope you'll find this short tour around the state as inspirational as I do.
It's always interesting at these annual meetings to see what Indiana Landmarks has accomplished in the past year, and looking back over the past 60 years, I'm as inspired as ever for the work done by the organization. It makes me proud to be associated with all the great people, past and present, that makes Indiana Landmarks great. I have been honored to serve as chairman of the Landmarks Board for the past 2 years. It's a role I've thoroughly enjoyed, and it's time to pass the torch. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Sarah Edgerton, our new chairwoman, elected earlier today by the board of directors. I've known Sarah for a chunk of time, and I promise she brings great passion, wisdom, and cheetah-like speed to her work with Indiana Landmarks. She will be an excellent leader as we move into the organization's next 60 years. Madam Chair, let me be the first to welcome you and wish you well in your new role. Hear, hear.
Thank you, Parker, for your kind introduction, and also I wanted to say thanks to Parker for his last 2 years of being the chair of the board of Indiana Landmarks. He's brought a lot of enthusiasm and interest to the group, and we appreciate that. I am Sarah Edgerton, and I am going to be the new chair of the board, and I'm very honored and humbled to have this opportunity. I've spent my entire life basically interested in history. In fact, I received a degree from Manchester College, which is now Manchester University, in history. And as any good history and liberal arts major does, I spent then the next 30 years working in healthcare. The healthcare group I worked for was community cancer care, and we did cancer programs with rural hospitals around the state of Indiana. I look forward to continuing to work with Indiana Landmarks as we work hard to include people from all over the state of Indiana, because there are many places that can benefit. We have many new projects coming on board that I think will be exciting, and you'll have to stay tuned to hear about what they are. So there will be more information coming soon. So I want to thank you all as members, donors, people that are interested in historic landmarks. And if you are a member, we are happy to have you. If you're a donor, we're happy to have you. And if you have other people that you would like to help become members, please do. So again, I thank you very much, and I look forward to the next couple of years.
Thank you, Sarah. We're grateful for your ongoing leadership as we move toward future milestones as you chair Indiana Landmarks. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. The past several months have presented new and unforeseen challenges. We're so grateful for and humbled by the support we continue to receive from our members and donors. And if you're not a member of Indiana Landmarks, please consider joining us. We're still hard at work around the state, so even though we can't gather in person, be sure to watch our magazine, website, e-letters, and social media for the latest news. And in the meantime, I urge you to check out our new book, Indiana Landmarks Rescued and Restored. In it, you'll find inspiring stories of places saved from demolition or ruin, and the proceeds from the sale support our mission of saving and revitalizing historic places. That's it for Indiana Landmarks annual meeting this year. Thanks to all who joined me in this virtual meeting, including Parker, Charlita, Randy, and Sarah. And a shout out to our production team, headed by Mindy Woolman and Evan Hale. My sincerest thanks to all. Parker for years of dedicated and dynamic leadership, to the Indiana Landmarks Board for amazing commitment, and to my talented colleagues on staff, to our extraordinary volunteers, members, and donors, thank you. We shall meet again soon and in person. Until then, please take care and be safe.